Hi guys, welcome back to Lex Alexis. In the past couple of days, I've been covering sections of the championship table and giving you my thoughts and predictions. We're now going to the final major bit in the championship table, and that is the relegation zone, because honestly, this to me is the most exciting but could also be the most devastating part of the championship this season. I never like predicting a team to get relegated, because ultimately no team should deserve the feeling of getting relegated. So it's why I always feel quite bad predicting a team to get relegated down to a division, because getting up back to the championship from League One is no easy feat. Some championship sides have made it look easy in the past, but then some others stay around League One for a long time and even drop down a couple of leagues below that. So it's a devastating position for any championship club to be a part of. But today I'm going to give you the 9 teams who I think are still involved in the relegation battle, which the fact we still have 9 teams involved in this conversation is mind-blowing with 8 games left. And I'm going to give you my current thoughts of the current bottom 3, and I'm going to let you know of my predictions at the end and whether if I think any team could switch positions. Because ultimately, that is what you're tuning in for, to hear my thoughts and my views, and in the end my predictions on who I think is getting relegated. So I wish your team the very best of luck, as I'm going to delve through their fixtures today, and I'm going to give you my current thoughts and their situations on and off the pitch. If you guys like what you see, please smash the like button. It really does help the growth of this channel. Please do hit the subscribe button too, and please share the channel too. All 3 of these things are free to do and they really help. But without any further ado, let's start one by one going through the teams fighting for championship survival. So to remind you of what the bottom 3 are currently are in the championship, you have got Plymouth rock bottom. You then have Luton Town, perhaps a surprise entry, in 23rd place, and Derby County, who are in 22nd. Now those 3 have been the 3 teams in the bottom 3 for a good couple of game weeks now, and we did have a big stage actually where so many teams were dropping in and out of the relegation zone, but then teams have made decisions, getting new managers in, or they've been on a good run of form and suddenly they find themselves either being dropped into the relegation battle or just outside of the relegation battle. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the table to see how it looks. So you can see here Plymouth, little bit of a gap to breach. They are 6 points of survival, so a little bit against Plymouth's chances. Luton, they are in real danger of only becoming the 3rd team I remember from memory getting back-to-back relegations from Premier League to League One. Wolverhampton Wanderers did it in 2013, and of course Sunderland did it all the way back in 2017. So could easily happen again 3 times for a Premier League side to go for back-to-back relegations. And Derby, with their recent 3 wins on the spin, they are now only 1 point off safety. So they were rock bottom, Derby, within a couple of weeks ago, but they've really pulled it back. So they've done tremendously well and have given themselves a fighting chance. Let's go for Plymouth first, since I think they've got the largest burden to try and get out of the position that they're in. 33 points is certainly not the lowest points return I've seen from a 24th place team with 8 games left. Let's see how many points we can realistically see Plymouth get, and bearing in mind they need to breach a 6-point gap just to even get out of the relegation zone. They've got Watford away. I mean, based on Plymouth's very poor away form, I think they'll be doing well to get a point. Home to Norwich, they probably could win that. I would not be surprised if Plymouth could actually pick up 3 points here. So let's say 3 points, that puts them on 36. Swansea, now that's a big game, Swansea away. But again, I'm really unsure of Plymouth's away form, so I think Swansea could edge them there. Then at home to Sheffield United, whilst Plymouth have been good on home, I just think Sheffield United will be too tough for them. Middlesbrough away, very tough. I think will be too tough. Then Coventry at home, again, I think that will be too tough for them. Whilst I think it will be a bit pressurising for the teams of Middlesbrough and Coventry at this stage of the season, I just think they're too strong for them. Preston away, maybe they could sneak a draw, but that's really, I think, the least that they'll get. And then to end it with Leeds at home, maybe they can go out on a high and try and get a win. But Leeds themselves could be in a position where they need to win to get promoted. So I do think the last 8 games are a little bit against Plymouth here. I think they could pick up maybe 1, if not 2 wins. But that in itself only matches current 21st place Derby County and Cardiff City, which I'm meant to say. So I do think that, for me, does confirm that Plymouth will go down. But if they go on the form like Derby have and have won 3 games in a row and actually win another game away from home, just to emphasise how bad Plymouth have been on the road. They recently, of course, beat Portsmouth away from home, which was their first away win. They have only won once on the road, but another team have only won once on the road, and we will speak about Oxford very, very soon. But 8 points is quite shambolic, but it's matching the team just above them in the table, which is Luton Town. So it does lead me to a good position to now start talking about them, because this is certainly the team I think everyone has gone wrong. I think some have predicted Luton to go up. I predicted Luton to finish, I think, 3rd. Dare I say, very embarrassing prediction. And at the moment, it's 20 places out. They're 4 points off Cardiff, and that's not good. They had a draw recently against Middlesbrough where they had so many chances to win, but they just could not find the ball in the back of the net. How costly could that be? Just to even get an additional 2 points now to be on 37 will make their position so much more favourable. Then they have Hull away to start things off. Now, we did look at Luton's away form being dreadful, only 8 points. However, they did win away quite recently against Cardiff, and that was a huge relegation 6-pointer, as you can see here, that they won. This is a crucial game because Hull have got the joint worst away record, but Hull, if there's one thing that we all know about them and one thing I will be covering on them, they've got the worst home form, and that's even including the fact they've had back-to-back wins at home quite recently. So perhaps Hull are looking like that they've turned a corner, although their 2 home wins have come against Oxford and Plymouth, teams I would be expecting Hull to beat, but they're going to have to carry that on and try and beat Luton in that position, because if they don't, then Hull get dragged into the relegation mire. Then it's Leeds, so ultimately that really puts the importance of Luton beating Hull. Then in their final 6, Stoke away. So another big opportunity for Luton to try and really put some pressure on the teams around them. I actually think they could beat Blackburn at home. Derby away. This again is massive. If Derby do not have the same form as they had leading into the international break, this could be a crucial opportunity for Luton to try and make up some ground. Bristol City at home is a tough one. Then they end it with Coventry and West Brom. So ultimately, I think by the 18th of April, I think Luton will want to be in a position where they're out of the bottom 3. It can be done, but if they are getting into this position where they're relying on results against Bristol City, Coventry and West Brom to survive, I think they'll give themselves a bit too much to do. And obviously, those are 3 sides fighting for the playoffs, and they could be fighting for playoffs in the final day, and that's what I'm leading to believe based on my video yesterday. So I think it is tough for Luton, but they certainly, to me, have a much more manageable set of games, but it really puts that emphasis on the away forms. You've got Stoke and you've got Derby, Luton, to play away from home. That away form, with that win there, that needs to go on a corner turn like what Hull have had recently with their home form, and they need to go on a streak of wins on the road. Luton cannot afford to dwindle and be low on confidence away from home, because both are some crucial games, Hull, Stoke and Derby, where they can get results against those sides if they can truly believe and their star players don't underperform. But they need to get this monkey off the back of their poor away form, and that could very well turn out to be their kryptonite. Derby, if we now go on them, they are now in a position where they're only 1 point off safety, which is unbelievable. They start off actually playing a little bit later because Preston are currently playing in the FA Cup against Aston Villa this weekend. So Derby have an even longer break to recover. And I actually think Preston is a very winnable game. Then it's Swansea away. Maybe tough, but I think Derby could sneak a draw. Burnley, I think Burnley will win. Portsmouth, I also think Portsmouth will win. So you think back-to-back defeats thinking, oh no, what's going on with Derby? But then that game against Luton, I think, could change everything. That is a huge game. And I spoke about the importance of already Burnley and Sheffield United, of that meaning for the promotion. But this, I think, for me, is almost the equivalent of that, but in the relegation. It's a huge game. And I think Derby do have the advantage of them being at home, and with Luton having the joint worst away form in the league. Then with West Brom, tough game. But then to end it with Hull and Stoke. Again, Luton also have to play Hull and Stoke as well. So a lot of the relegated threatened sides are playing against each other. So those head-to-heads are really going to be telling the story of who I think will survive. I think there's enough winnable games for Derby to actually get 3 or 4 wins. And if that's the case, we then see Derby on at least 47 points, if not more, maybe even close to 50. If we're looking at scoring 50 points to survive, that is brutal. But Derby's form could encourage this traffic jam of teams to then start being pulled down and can replace them in their current position in the table. Let's look at Cardiff first and see what form they have going into the end of the season. Sheffield Wednesday at home, I think, is actually quite an important game. I know Sheffield Wednesday we spoke about yesterday about their brilliant away form, but I think Cardiff haven't been too bad at home, so I think they could get a chance to get something. QPR away is a huge game. If we see where QPR are on the table, they are on 45 and Cardiff with 39. They could find themselves in a position they can really actually have some touching distance on QPR's point tally. I don't think QPR, to me, are going down. They're kind of right in the middle of the table with Preston and Norwich. But I still think because they don't have a lot to play for, I think that could actually lower QPR's guard quite significantly. So a big opportunity for Cardiff to get something. Then Preston, another team right in the middle of the table. I don't think with a lot to play for. But away from home, not too convinced. Stoke at home. Wow, what a game. Big game. So Stoke, in their position of the table, same amount of points as Cardiff. Don't think they will be on the same points going into this game, but if one of them's in the bottom 3, and this might be a really big season-defining game. That's then followed by Sheffield United away, tough one. But then that's followed with Oxford. I think Stoke and Oxford Cardiff could take advantage of. Then West Brom, and followed by Norwich. Okay, pretty tough, but I'm seeing at least 3 wins that are very possible and plausible for Cardiff. So again, with those 3 wins, potentially at least, we're seeing 48. So high 40s, low 50s. That's sort of the route that we're seeing at this moment of time. But it's not making my job any easier on who I think will be potentially down with Luton and, of course, Plymouth. I mean, I know I've kind of thought about Luton surviving, but I think they are in a position where they might actually have too much to do. But now we talk about Stoke. Let's look at their games. QPR, very winnable. Preston, tough, but I think they can get a result, maybe a draw. Then that Luton game, very important. We spoke about the importance with Luton, but for Stoke here, it's vital. The fact that you have a really good start, I think, in their form, to have 3 games unbeaten with those last 8 games, that could very well be giving Stoke enough breathing space to push them away from the bottom 3. Then that's followed by Cardiff. Again, could go either way. Then you've got Sheffield Wednesday, okay, a little bit tougher. And then it's it's ended with Leeds and Sheffield United back-to-back, which is not particularly nice for Stoke. So Stoke definitely by the 18th, so a bit similar in the case of Luton. Both Stoke and Luton at this particular day would want to try and get enough points from the relegation zone at that time, because both of them have got 3 relatively tough games. I mean, yeah, Derby maybe could go either way, but I think here I'm seeing another winnable 3 games for Stoke. I really am. And that is really not helping me at all in terms of who I think will go down. Let's go with Hull. But they have got a bit of a cushion. A 2-point cushion. How important would this cushion be? Luton, we spoke about how important that game is. But Hull are going on a mini turnaround. You know, the fact they've beaten Oxford and Plymouth at home are showing that they can get the edge at home against the teams around them. They need to do the same here to almost give themselves a bit of confidence. I mean, that result, if they do beat Luton, Hull find themselves 9 points clear of Luton, and that will almost drag 2 teams out of the race of catching them, and that will give them a big boost with their remaining 7 games of the season. Sheffield Wednesday away, could be a toughie. And then with the final 6, Watford away, and then Coventry at home. Oh, I think Coventry will win that one. Swansea away, they could squeak a result there. I wouldn't be surprised. Then Preston, maybe they could get a result here, and then that's followed by Derby, and then Portsmouth. So I really do think Hull actually have a nice run of games. They really do have a really nice run of games. I think Coventry is the highest ranked side they've got to play. They don't play any of the top 4 Hull. So that gives them a big advantage. I mean, I think Portsmouth away is going to be quite tough. But there's certainly enough games where I can see Hull picking up 3 points to survive. I really do. I think we could see Hull on 50 points. That leaves me with 3 more teams to talk about. Let's talk about Oxford. Now, Oxford is a very interesting one. So they've got a 3-point gap. Blimey, I mean, how important could that win against Watford be in terms of their survival chances? Middlesbrough away, that's a very tough game. So we spoke about it already. Oxford are one of the very 2 sides that have only picked up 1 win away from home. I mean, to only lose 11 is not too bad, but it tells you they can draw the odd away game, but as a whole they lose most of their away games, and I think Middlesbrough will be tough. Then their home games, which are significantly stronger, but oh dear, Sheffield United, I certainly would not want to be playing them at the moment. QPR, that's a huge game. If they can get a win here, 45 points, will start putting the pressure on against the teams around them. Sheffield Wednesday away, that one maybe could go either way. Then it is Leeds. Oh dear, I would not want to be backing Oxford for this one. I think Leeds could win this one, and that's a crucial home game lost. Then Cardiff away. So what I'm seeing here, the crunch games are kind of happening away from home for Oxford here, which is not good because they don't really win on the road. Then another home game, but against another top 4 side in Sunderland. So we spoke about Hull City having none of the top 4. Oxford have 3 of the top 4 in their last 8. And then it's ended with an away game against Swansea. Oh dear. I mean, if I'm being generous, 2 wins. But realistically, I could see QPR being a good opportunity. But the others, I'm not so sure. If it is just 1 win, that puts them on 45 and actually serious danger, considering that I'm thinking Cardiff, Stoke and Hull could be up to low 50s. Oh, it's not looking quite good for us. So, I mean, that win against Watford was huge, but potentially, unless they have another miracle result like that, I think it's going to be very tough for them. Portsmouth, I've got a bit of a threshold. Again, likewise with Oxford, got a 3-point gap. I think they can get a good result against Blackburn there. If they can win that and can potentially be 6 points off relegation, that gives them a big boost with the remaining 7 games. Millwall away, I think Millwall might get a result there. Then Coventry, okay, so a couple of tough games for Portsmouth. But then that's followed with Derby. They can get a result. Norwich away, tough. But then Watford, I think they could get a result. I think they may squeak a result against Sheffield Wednesday and then Hull. So actually, whilst Coventry's quite tough for Portsmouth, I do think the others are actually quite good for Portsmouth. I can see at least 2, if not 3 more wins. And again, that will put Portsmouth in the high 40s, taking them away from Oxford. And I think that could give them enough points to survive. We'll then finally end it by talking about Swansea, I guess. But they have got a good gap. They've got actually a 6-point gap. So it will need to take a monumental collapse. But let's look at their running. Leeds, definitely not the team you want to be facing. Then Derby, that's quite tough actually. So 2 tough games for Swansea, hello. Then Plymouth, okay, I think they could win that one. And then to be on 47, I think they'll be looking quite safe. But to be fair, Sunderland's quite tough. And then Hull, that could certainly be a very crucial game. I think Swansea by this stage, they will want to get 2 wins out of those 5 games. If they can get 2 wins out of their next 5, that will then put Swansea on 50 with QPR, Millwall and Oxford to play. And I think those 3 are quite winnable for Swansea. Yeah, I think for me, Swansea have enough winnable games that they can get themselves out of it. And I wasn't really too concerned with Swansea in the first place. I mean, it was quite interesting to see the fact that they do have to face Leeds and they do have to face Sunderland. But other than that, I actually think they could be okay here, Swansea. So those are my overall reactions based on the running. I mean, there's an argument I probably should talk about QPR based on the fact that they are winless in 5. But I don't know, 7 points. Unless QPR don't pick up a single point, I think they will be okay. I actually think only 1 win QPR required to get out of the relegation trouble. So, for me, I actually think they're going to be okay. But now I've got a tough decision to make. Who's going down? So we're back in this animation, and this is going to be the bit I'm not going to like. I really don't like predicting teams to go down because all teams have given me some joy this season. But for me, rock bottom will be Plymouth. Really just down to the fact that their home games are against some really, really tough teams. And with the away games being quite crucial and the fact that Plymouth don't really have a good away record, I just don't think there's going to be enough opportunities for Plymouth to climb away. They've already got a 6-point gap to breach, and realistically, I could probably only see them picking up another 6 or 7 points. So I think that's going to be Plymouth going down, unfortunately. And then, shocker, I'm going Luton. I am going Luton. Now, I do think Luton have got some very important games. But this uncertainty of their away form is what's making me nervous. If Luton can take the opportunity to beat Hull, to beat Stoke, and to beat Derby on the road, then I'll change my mind. But I've not seen enough yet that's going to convince me that Luton are going to do a repeat of what they did to Cardiff and to replicate that enough times when they've given the opportunity to make some ground off the relegated threatened sides. And so that to me puts Luton down. And their home games, a little bit touch and go, some winnable ones, some very tricky ones. So I do think Luton are going to go down. And that's a real shame, unfortunately. I would really have loved to see Luton stay up. And then the last team, I've changed Derby. I have changed Derby. And it's not just because of their form, winning 3 in a row. Because quite honestly, I do think with the games that they got, they maybe could carry that on for 2 more games. But then they have got some tough games coming up, Derby. But again, they've got some games against teams right, in their section of the table. And I do think they're in this commanding position now where I think if they get 3 wins, I think they can survive. And I think based on their last day, I think they could get 3 wins. The team instead going down, shockingly, is Oxford. Now, I really did not want... I told myself that I thought I was going to be completely ignorant putting Oxford in this position. But then I looked at their games. And that's what convinced me, unfortunately, that I think Oxford are going down. If Oxford do survive, then a big factor of them surviving is going to be their last win against Watford before the international break. Because their home games are brutal. And Oxford have got to play 3 of the top 4 still in their last 8. And with their away form being very poor with only 1 win away from home, their crunch games are happening on the road. So unless they could pick off one miracle result on the road, I just don't see Oxford scoring enough points. They've got a really crucial home game against QPR, which I think they could get 3 points in. But that still only puts them on 45. And that, for me, is not enough to survive. I think you need high 40s to survive this year. So, by the narrowest of margins, the 3 teams, in my opinion, going down to League One are Plymouth Argyle, Luton Town, and Oxford. Those are my predictions. But guys, I would love to hear your predictions too in the comments down below. Am I being too harsh on Oxford? Am I not giving Luton enough credit here? Am I not giving them a chance? Am I completely writing off Plymouth? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I can't quite believe I've uploaded 3 days in a row, but here I am, and I'm actually going to go for 4 out of 4 when I do my score predictions, which I will record tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, please do smash the like button. It really does help. Please do hit the subscribe button too, and please share the channel too. All 3 of these things are free to do, and they really help. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary for seeing this video, and as always, I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everyone.